Theories are based on theoretical paradigms, which are sets of assumptions that guide our thinking and research. Social theories are explanations of social phenomena, such as why people choose to marry as they do, or why people behave differently in different social situations. We all develop theories to help us explain a wide variety of events. Even when the explanations are wrong, they may help us develop guidelines for behavior and hypotheses that can be tested. Sociologists refer to a theoretical framework as a perspective, which is an overall approach or viewpoint towards some subject. There are three perspectives which are predominant in the social sciences today. We have structural functional theory, conflict theory, and symbolic interaction. So let's look at structural functional theory first. Structural functional theory sees society as a complex system whose parts work together to promote solidarity and stability. Our society is made up of many social systems, and each one performs certain functions that make it possible for society and the people who comprise that society to exist. So each serves a function that leads to the maintenance and stability of the larger society. For example, the educational system is intended to provide literary skills. The religious system is intended to provide emotional support and answer questions about the unknown. Families are intended to socialize infants and so on. And when a society is functioning well, we say that its major parts are well integrated. They tend to be in equilibrium or balance, and then systems that fail to fulfill its functions will result in an imbalance or a disequilibrium. According to Robert Merton, a social system can have both manifest functions and latent functions. Manifest functions are intended and recognizable, and latent functions are not intended and not recognizable. For example, one manifest function of the educational system is to teach literary skills. They also perform the latent function of babysitting, and at the college and university level, they provide contacts for dating and marriage. Correctional institutions have the manifest function of punishment and removing criminals from the larger society, but they may also perform the latent function of providing advanced training in other criminal activity. Merton recognized that not all consequences of systems are functional. Some can lead to instability or the breakdown of a system. These consequences he termed dysfunctions. For example, families have a manifest function of rearing children. However, the intensity of family interactions can lead to the dysfunction of violence and child abuse. This function may lead to the disruption of relationships within the family system or even to the total breakdown of the system. Also, what may be functional in one system may be dysfunctional in another. For example, a function that's good for corporate profits may not be good for family solidarity. But according to the functionalist perspective, social systems exist because they do fulfill some function for society, and they focus on order and stability. Conflict theory sees society as an arena of inequality that generates conflict and change. And most sociologists who favor the conflict paradigm attempt not only to understand society, but also to reduce social inequality. Conflict theory had its early origins in early sociology, especially in the work of Karl Marx. It holds the view that society is best understood and analyzed in terms of conflict and power. Conflict theorists assume that conflict is a permanent feature of social life and that as a result, societies are in a state of constant change. Conflicts involve a broad range of groups or interests. We've got young against old, male against female, one racial group against another, as well as workers against employers. So they look at conflict between groups as being normal. And that's because conflict results because things like power, wealth, prestige are not available to everyone. They are limited commodities, and the demand exceeds the supply. Conflict theory also assumes that those who have or control desirable goods and services will defend and protect their own interests at the expense of others. So in this view, conflict is regarded as a struggle that occurs day after day as people try to maintain and improve their positions in life. Now, conflict can also be a constructive force. People with common interests join together to seek gains that will benefit everyone. Also, conflict among groups focuses attention on inequalities and social problems that might never be resolved without the conflict. For example, racial conflicts may serve to bind people with common interests together and also lead to constructive social change. Symbolic interaction studies how social structures are created in the course of human interaction. They study individuals in society and their definitions of situations, meanings, roles, and interaction patterns. People in a society share an understanding of certain symbols. Take the traffic light, for example. Social learning takes place at both symbolic and non-symbolic levels. Interaction with others, we learn social expectations, a specific language, and social values. We also learn to share meanings and to communicate symbolically through words and gestures. We can also imagine the effects of different courses of action. We can imagine what will happen if we were to throw something at a police officer. I hope it's not because you've done it before. But by thinking through alternate courses of action, we can choose those which are believed to be the most appropriate for a given situation. The fact that others share similar expectations make life patterned and relatively predictable. For example, class. Those who fail to recognize that red traffic lights mean stop will have trouble getting any place safely in their cars. So symbolic interaction is concerned with individual and small groups and what are their beliefs.